my name is Chandria. Welcome to Chandria Carol Stitches. Today I have a whip parade for you. This is all of the whips that I am carrying into 2025. My oldest whip is from 2021, which is embarrassing, but that's okay. I will preface this by saying that I do have quite a bit of whips. I have 70, and I have one that has to be a restart, so I'm not going to show that. I'll show that once I restart it. So currently it's a UFO. I guess I will start off with just a teeny introduction, since I know that a whip parade is where, including myself, a lot of people meet new floss tubers that they then keep watching. So in case you're new here, thank you for deciding to check out my video and see what I'm working on, the types of projects that I like. These are my absolute favorite types of videos to watch, so hopefully I can put on a good one for you today. So like I said, my name is Chandria. I am 32 years old. I live in the Cincinnati metro area, northern Kentucky, and I live with my husband. We're kind of weird. As you can tell from my backdrop, we have a lot going on in our house. There's a lot of taxidermy, if that is your thing. That is a hermit crab we found on the beach. It was dead. It was already picked apart by what are they? Seagulls. Yeah, seagulls. So we brought that fella home, cleaned him, lacquered him up, and so now this is Harold that lives on our wall. Lots of random things like that. We like to support local artists, so we have a lot of prints and unique one-of-a-kind pieces. We have a very eclectic household. I have a very talkative cat that likes to air her grievances during my floss tubes. Her name is Kitty. We're very creative as well. Yeah, that's it. I honestly lead a pretty boring life besides cross stitch. Other hobbies that you may hear about on my channel. I also knit. I read books and do a book talk. I talk about video games every so often. Yeah. Now I think we're good. So I have divided my my whips into 4 piles. So I'm going to start with the first one, and I'll take a little break in between each to reorganize, so you're not having to deal with that. I'm going to give just a few stats as I talk about these. Name, fabric, when I started it, just the month and year, not a date. And then if it is a digital pattern that I have the stats for, I'll tell you how many stitches out of how many stitches are in the pattern that I've done and the percentage. We are going to go through this kind of rapidly because, like I said, I have a lot of whips, which I don't have a problem with that. You can't finish what you don't start. So if I have a pattern, I have floss, I'm just going to start it or else it's never going to get done. It's just going to sit and get forgotten about when the next cool pattern comes out. So it's fine. If that bothers you though, feel free to check out some of the other amazing floss tubes and whip parades that are going on right now that are much shorter, if that's your jam. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I will pop up cover photos because I want to get the filming done quickly, so I'm not going to show you cover photos. We'll just pop those up. If I have good before photos, I will pop those up, but I'm not going to talk about them each time. I'll deal with all that in editing. It's going to be fun. So, number 1, my oldest whip is Halloween Quaker by Lila's Studio. I started this in February 2021. If I didn't say that already, we're off to a great start. I'm stitching this on 32 count Murky by Picture This Plus. It's a lugana. Here is where I am. I have stitched 3,236 stitches out of 17,997 for a total of 18%. Oh, I'll also tell you about needle minders if I remember where they came from. This one is a pin from grave markings that I turned into a needle minder myself. So the reason why this is my oldest WIP and only has 18% is because I stitched the outside border of this big motif here, I'm not kidding, 3 or 4 times. So it went in timeout and didn't get touched for probably a year and a half before, or longer, before I picked this back up again. It was the very first project that I started on anything besides Aida, and that was kind of a mistake. I'm not saying that you shouldn't stitch on lugana or linen. Obviously that's mostly what I stitch on now, but it was not a great choice to start with. So yeah, I had just had so many counting errors. It was a rough time. And I'm usually make my own project bags. Sorry. I don't think you're gonna get anything from that. So I'm not gonna talk about those each time. Okay, next. This is Templar Prophecy by Long Dog Samplers. This is stitched on 18 count Aida that I coffee and tea dyed myself. I started this around the same time. This was February of 2021. I'm using Old World floss by Stitchy Stuff Co. I got this off of Etsy, their floss. I have stitched 3,277 stitches out of 60,065 stitches for a total of 5.5%. That is a custom needle minder made by a friend. Again, another homemade bag. Next, we have an Etsy pattern that is no longer available. This is called We Do Disney. It's stitched on 18 count white Aida with just DMC 310. I have stitched 1,429 stitches out of 9,867 for a total of 14.5%. I started this in August of 2021. So if you can tell here, I have a lot of half stitch. I went through and just mapped it out in half stitch, and I just can go back in then without the pattern and finish the full cross. But I think I got tired of that and started filling back in. This one's just kind of a little boring for me, so that's why it's taken me so long. This is a vintage Disney, I believe it was a keychain, not a pin, but I do a lot of Disney pins and needle minders as well. You can tell that Minnie's gloves are no longer white, so she's pretty old. And then I'd started gridding out some other project on this with water soluble pin, and then changed my mind, so now it has random grids on this. But that's fine. It will wash. Next is Baba Yaga by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I started this in October of 2021. It is stitched on 32 count Catacombs linen by BeStitchMe. This needle minder is from Fangamer. It is a glow-in-the-dark pin from the video game Dredge that I turned into a needle minder. I have stitched 694 stitches out of 17,757 for a total of 3.9%. I think the reason why I haven't picked this one up is it's just kind of intimidating. It's so large and dense. When I do pick it up, I get a decent chunk done, but I don't pick it up very often. Next, we have another Autumn Lane Stitchery pattern. This is Lovebirds. I started this in January of 2022, so we're starting 2022 WIPs. This is stitched on 32 count Crimson Peak Lugana by Jodi of the Steel City Stitchers. The needle minder is from BeStitchMe. I have stitched 1,287 stitches out of 4,318, putting me at 29.8%. I love this one. I don't know why it's not done. I know last year I got distracted by the sprouting lupine, Valentine samplers, and I'm kind of a seasonal stitcher, but I guess the Valentine season is kind of short, so that's probably why I don't pick it up too often, but I do love that. Next, this one is just pitiful. So this is Borshch by OwlForest Embroidery. I got this as a kit, so I'm using all of their over-dyed flosses and the fabric, so I'm really not sure what it is, but I think it's either Zweigart or Witchelt base. And here is where I am. Literally like half the center motif. The needle minder also came with the kit. It matches the pattern. I started this in June of 2022. I have stitched 323 stitches out of 16,572, putting me at 1.9%. I stitched this in Saga, which is like a pattern keeper alternative, which OwlForest Embroidery, their patterns are compatible with. No idea why that one is so pitiful. It is what it is, and I'll get back to it. Next is Happy Skies by Stitchrovia. It's stitched on 18 count easy count. I started it in July of 2022. I have stitched 2,857 stitches out of 6,550, putting me at 43.6%. For such like a little size-wise pattern, there's a lot of stitches in these. Next, we have Frogwarts Year 3 by the Black Needle Society. This is the year that I started participating in the Frogwarts retreats. So I started this in July of 2022. This is stitched on 32 count Garnet linen, I believe by Weeks Dye Works, if I'm not mistaken. by somebody. If you are really interested, just message me and I will get that to you. Otherwise, everything is going to be listed down below, and I will make sure it's correct when I list it down below. So, I have stitched 2,800, nope, wrong, I'm looking at Happy Skies. I've stitched 4,114 stitches out of 11,334, putting me at 36.3%. There is a full coverage banner, I guess, border, that's a better word, down here, and that is, that's a lot of stitches. But the needle minder is custom, came with the box. Next is Homely Houseplants version 2 by Stitchonomy. This is stitched on 32 count Garden Party Lugana by BeStitchMe. I started this in August of 2022. I have stitched 3,143 stitches out of 8,082 stitches, putting me at 38.9%. And this is a pin that I turned into a needle minder. Next is Halloween Wreath by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I started this in October of 2022, which is when the sale started. I kept up for a bit. I'm stitching this on 32 count vintage Stormy Night Lugana by Svigart. This is, I have 8,799 stitches out of 18,595, putting me at 47.3%. Needle minder. This is from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It says anti-frog potion. Next is Halloween Fairy by Nora Corbett. I think there's two versions of this. This is the one that you can get off the Hirschner's website. I started this in October of 2022. This is stitched on 32 count Anubis linen from Under the Sea Fabrics. And I do not have stats because I'm doing this off. You buy it as a PDF, but it doesn't work in Pattern Keeper, and yeah, it's got a lot of beads, Krynic, back stitching. So I'm just using the paper from a paper pattern. And then this is a Pentagoat from Grave Markings. It was a pin that I turned into a needle minder. Next we have Christmas Wreath by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I started this in January of 2023. This was well after the sale ended. I'm stitching it on 32 count vintage country Mocha so that it matches the Halloween wreath. The needle minder is also by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I have done 609 stitches out of 18,358, putting me at 3.3%. Next, we have Welcome to Rivendell, one of my very few full coverages. This is by Country Magic Stitch. I started this in February of 2023. I'm stitching this on 25 count, easy count by Zweigart. I'm doing it 2/1 tent stitch. This was a needle minder I received in a stitch swap, which just fit this so perfectly. I have stitched 3,509 stitches out of 22,528, putting me at 15.6%. And again, this is half stitches, so it does go pretty quickly. Next, we have Frogwarts Year 1. I wanted to go ahead and get the years 1 and 2 started before the next retreat for year 4. So I did go ahead and get it started. I started this in February of 2023. This is 32 count vintage smoky white linen by Zweigart. I have done 510 stitches out of 10,705, putting me at 4.8%. And then in the very same vein, I also have Frogwarts Year 2. This is, if I didn't mention it, it's by the Black Needle Society on both of these. I started this in March of 2023. This is stitched on 32 count Princess linen by BeStitchMe. I have stitched 852 stitches out of 10,899, putting me at 7.8%. This is a Disney pin that I turned into a needle minder. Next, this is Long Legs Scary Carrie by Lavender Wings. I'm doing this on a 40 count mystery fabric. I believe it's from Picture This Plus, but I couldn't tell you the color. I started this in March of 2023, and I don't have any stats for it because it's a paper pattern. This is a Disney pin that I turned into a needle minder. Next is Dream Big Little One by Vlada X Stitch. I'm doing this on a 32 count white even weave. We're just gonna leave that folded. That I just got at a craft store, so I don't really recommend it. I started this in March of 2023. I believe I did March Stitchy Madness with All Starts that year. I have stitched 208 stitches out of 5,503, putting me at 3.8%. Next, if you have little ears watching, this does contain a curse word I won't say it, but it'll be on the screen. So this is by Plastic Little Covers. I'm doing this on 14 count Aida that I definitely don't recommend. Take off my extra needle since I had to. So I'm doing this entirely from random extra kit threads, not from the called fors. I started this in April of 2023. I have stitched 419 stitches out of 2,472, putting me at 16.9%. That is another Disney pen that I turned into a writer. Next is Zelda Stained Glass. This is also no longer available. I'm stitching it on 25 count easy count. I literally just got this started and have not come back to it since. I started this in April of 2023. I have a line. This pattern does not go into Pattern Keeper, so I've contemplated not ending up stitching it because of that, just because it is a full coverage without Pattern Keeper. The only reason why I think I'm going to go ahead and do it, and it's not, why I'm showing it to you, is because I know it's a gift. I know that they will really love it and appreciate it. And it also doesn't seem too confetti heavy. So I think it's something that I could do off of the paper pattern. But that's why I haven't touched it since the day I got it started. It also looks like I started this 1/1 full cross. I'm going to be doing that 2/1 10 stitch. But yeah. That is the end of the first pile. Give me a hot second and I will rearrange my piles here so I can get to the second one. Okay, I'm back with the next pile. So next, number 20, if anyone's keeping count. We are looking at Castle Homecoming by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I started this with the Sow and mostly kept up. So I started this in May of 2023. This is stitched on a 32 count Picture This Plus Valor. It's a linen. I have stitched 15,591 stitches out of 18,866, putting me at 82.6%. And that needle minder is by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is gonna get done. It is so close to be as big as it is, and I have the frame for it and everything. It needs done. Next is Greenhouse of Oddities by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. I did start this kind of with the Sow in May of 2023. This is stitched on a 32 count Water Spirit linen by Seraphim Fabrics. The needle minder is a custom. I have stitched 485 stitches out of 15,905 stitches, putting me at 3%. The first drop was huge. I didn't get it done before it started, and then the drops were weekly. So I couldn't really keep up, and then I just felt bad for not keeping up because I really had wanted to. So I just didn't work on it at all. But it is an amazing pattern, so I really do want to get back to it. Next is Home Sweet Home by Embroidery. This is stitched on 18 count Picture This Plus Herald. Let's fold this a little bit. I started this in May of 2023. I did Mania that year, so I had quite a few starts. You're gonna see that. The Game Over Needle Minder is from Rebel Stitcher Designs. I think I did that one day of stitching and never got back to it. So I have 102 stitches out of 9,407, putting me at 1.1%. Next is Ghost Stories by the Witchy Stitcher. I started this in May of 2023. This is stitched on 32 count Fortnite fabrics called Fright Night. I have stitched 696 stitches out of 2,677, putting me at 26%. I have stitched everything but the black. So the other 74% is black. But it is the Witchy Stitcher, so it makes sense. This is a needle minder from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Next, we have one that I really don't see other people doing. So this is the Voodoo Man by Ship's Manor. I started this in May of 2023. Haven't touched it since that day. This is stitched on 32 count Crimson Peak Lugana. I am using, it's by Jodi the Steel City Stitchers. Trying to get that crease out there. So I'm doing this in, there, you kind of tell, a variegated DMC, like a blue to purple. And then this needle minder is from a pin from the company Ectogasm. And it says, I'm a horror for pumpkin spice. Next we have Till Death by Satsuma Street. I got this as a kit, so I'm using everything from the kit. And because of that, I don't have stats on this. Here is where I am. This is black perforated paper, and I have most of part of the little head pieces. You do it in multiple pieces. So I also started this in May of 2023. Next is Quaker Pumpkins by Hello from Liz Matthews. I started this in May of 2023. It's stitched on 32 count Sand Dollar linen by BeStitchMe. I have done 758 stitches out of 12,429, putting me at 6.1%. That needle minder is by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And I hope that you can see that. I'm doing the Forbidden Fiber Co. conversion. Next is Cozy Cafe by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I did not do this as part of the stitch along, which is why I have a measly start. I started this in May of 2023. It's stitched on a 32 count Chai Love You opal linen by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. I have done 491 stitches out of 12,966, putting me at 3.8%. This Jackalope Needle Minder is from a pin from Ghoulish Bunny Studios. Next is To All a Good Night by Autumn Lane Stitchery. Started in May of 2023. This is done on 28 count white opalescent linen. If you can tell, this is a lot of margin for me. It came as a kit from the Black Needle Society in one of their boxes, and I guess I didn't measure it to see, and they were extraordinarily generous with the fabric. So I have stitched 2,199 stitches out of 5,166, putting me at 42.6% complete. The needle minder is a Yeti from Rebel Stitcher Designs. Most of what I have left is a full coverage part up here. Next is Attack of the Thread Chickens from Ink Circles. I started this in May of 2023. I tried to be reasonable and start some smalls along with all of these large projects. Still haven't finished the smalls either. So this is stitched on 36 count dappled hollow linen by Under the Sea Fabrics. I'm doing this with a purple Treenway silk. The needle minder is a Disney pin. I have stitched 235 stitches out of 1,416, so this one's really small, putting me at 16.6%. I had meant to finish that this past fall, but then I just didn't stitch much. I was in a stitching slump for most of fall, so it just didn't get pulled back out. Next is Hello Pumpkin by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. This is stitched on 32 count vintage smoky white linen. I started this in May of 2023. Here's where I am. Don't know if you can tell much with this glorious hanging thread. Don't mind me, but we gotta at least fix that a little bit. There we go. At least you can see the poor start. The needle minder is a Disney pin. Let's see. I have done 100 stitches out of 8,059, putting me at 1.2%. Next is Princess Peach Stained Glass by Pinky the Pink on makeitpink.net. This is a free pattern. I started this in May of 2023, and this one actually has some good progress. It's just I can't tell you how much because it's a paper pattern. I'm doing it on 25 count easy count, 2/110 stitch. focus? I can't tell. But yeah, I think the entire thing will fit inside this key snap, but I'm not sure the exact dimensions. She's got stained glass behind her. Yeah. Next is another Autumn Lane Stitchery pattern. This is called Lovely Gnomes. This was originally in a Just Cross Stitch magazine. I started this in May of 2023. This is stitched on 32 count Anemone Lugana by BeStitchMe. I have done 419 stitches out of 2,878, putting me at 14.6% complete. I'm not sure if this is from Top Knot Stitcher or Mad for Minders, to be perfectly honest. One of the two. Next, we have Royals by Ink Circles. I started this in May of 2023. We're not out of those yet. I'm doing this on 32 count Phoenix Lugana by BeStitchMe. Trying to get that crease out of the way. I have stitched 276 stitches out of 6,356, putting me at 4.3% complete. Next is Nevermore by Satsuma Street. I have this as the kit. So it is stitched on 14 count perforated paper. Yeah, that kind of. I have done 622 stitches out of 1,368, putting me at 45.7%. Just a full cross though. It does not include the beading. Although these do not have a ton of beading. Started in May of 2023, if I didn't say that already. The next one was also started in May of 2023. This is the Spooky Stories bookmark by the Black Needle Society. I got this as a kit, so it is stitched on 14 count perforated paper. I'm not even going to bother trying to get something behind that. You can see just here at the top. I have done 104 stitches out of 1,793, putting me at 5.8% complete. This would go pretty fast, I just haven't picked it back up. Next is the Never Ending Cycle by Hands On Design. Started this in May 2023, but this one I actually have picked back up since then. So this is stitched on 32 count Lavender Lugana by Zweigart. I have stitched 727 stitches out of 2,271, putting me at 32% complete. I am doing a color conversion that I pulled from Forbidden Fiber Co. flosses. Sorry, had a quick work break. So, let's keep going. Next is Miss Witch by Satsuma Street. I got this as a kit, so it is on 14 count black perforated paper. I started this in May 2023, but this is the last of those Mania starts. I have done 105 stitches out of 1,063, full cross only for that number, putting me at 9.9%. finally moving on to more outside of Mania. Frogwarts Year 4 by the Black Needle Society. So I started this in July of 2023. This is stitched on 32 count verdigris by linen by Fortnite Fabrics. I have stitched 1,275 stitches out of 12,125, putting me at 10.5%. So I had already stitched this entire bit, plus some, and had to rip the entire thing out because I started it in the wrong orientation. And then I just didn't want to work on it. I made myself rip it all out and get back started because I knew that if I didn't, I just wouldn't because it made me so upset. So that's why I don't have that much on this one, even though I did participate in the retreat. The needle minder came in the box. It's common Welsh green dragon. That is the end of the second pile, but the way that I have reorganized my stacks last time, I think I can just keep going. So we're going to do that. So next we're on number 39, for anyone keeping count. This is Halloween Time by the Witchy Stitcher. I started this in August of 2023. This is on 16 count Picture This Plus Sand Aida. I have stitched 1,133 stitches out of 3,721, putting me at 30.4% complete. And since this one actually is worthwhile, I will show you what I keep it in. This is a project folder with stitching. I got this at StitchCon as a smalls exchange swap. So this is from Holly of Stitchy Pros. Absolutely love that. Next is Wednesday by Forbidden Fiber Co. I started this in October of 2023. It is stitched on 16 count Finian Aida by Seraphim Fabrics. The needle minder is by Marie Minder. I have stitched 2,747 stitches out of 4,450, putting me at 61.7%. Mostly is going to be the words and then the rest of the hair fill in. Next is Got the Morbs by Modern Folk Embroidery. I started this also in October of 2023. This is stitched on 32 count hot cocoa linen by BeStitchMe. Trying to get that crease out. I've stitched 699 stitches out of 3,916, putting me at 17.8% complete. I'm doing this with a color and cotton mist dye. And then this was, I think this was a pin that I turned into a needle minder, but I'm not sure where I got it from. Sorry, another work break. Moving right along though, next we have the Christmas 2023 Stitch Along on Patreon from Mama Witch X Stitch. This is stitched on 18 count white Aida. I started this in November of 2023. I have done 82 stitches out of 1,608, putting me at 54.9% complete. The needle minder is from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Next is Holly Jolly Sampler by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I am editing this to cut out the sampler portion, the alphabet. I'm stitching this on 28 count vintage country mocha, Lugana by Swigart. I started this in December of 2023. I have stitched 525 stitches out of 2,084, putting me at 25.2% complete. I like to color complete, so that's why that looks a little weird. Next is Holiday Quaker by Lila Studio. I started this in December of 2023. This is stitched on 18 count Glass Elevator by Forbidden Fiber Co. The needle minder is from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I have stitched 1,228 stitches out of 18,859 stitches, putting me at 6.5% complete. My pile. we gotta go a little farther, or that's just gonna fall. Next, we have The Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings. I started this in December 2023. I believe I did the 12 days of stitching or something like that. Or maybe I was preparing these for my New Year's Eve 12 by 12. I don't know. Because I wanted to get like a couple stitches in just to have the starting point. I don't know. December 2023. I'm stitching this on a 32 count Dusk Lugana by Fiber on a Whim. I have stitched 457 stitches out of 5,893, putting me at 7.8% complete. Needle minder is by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Next is Stardew Valley Christmas by Glitch Stitch AU. This is full coverage. Started this in December 2023. Here is where I am. I'm stitching this on 25 count easy count 2/1/10 stitch. I have stitched 2,786 stitches out of 19,113, putting me at 14.6% complete. This is the edge, so the full thing will be a circle coming in about this far from this. This needle minder is from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. All right, number 47 is A Wintry Mix by Sue Hillis Designs. I started this in December of 2023. This is stitched on 18 count Color Happens by Fiber on a Whim, Aida. I have stitched 335 stitches out of 4,070 full cross only, so there is quite a bit of back stitching in this that does not include. But full crosses, I'm at 8.2% complete. Needle minder is a Disney pin. Next is Merry Manatees by Lindy Stitches. I started this in December 2023. This is stitched on 32 count Princess Linen by BeStitchMe. I have stitched 6,005 stitches out of 4,410, putting me at 13.7% complete. And I got a matching manatee needle minder. That was from a pin, but I don't remember where I got it. I know this doesn't look like much, but I have to explain. This is the head of the baby manatee. These spots here are going to be where his belly's wrapped around with Christmas lights, and then this blank is going to be where the Santa hat comes. So cute. I love manatees. Next is Merry Meerkats by The Blue Flower. Started this in December of 2023. I'm stitching this on 32 count. Get that out of the way a little bit. Nightshade linen by BeStitchMe. I've stitched 590 stitches out of 2,656, putting me at either 22 or 27.2%. I can't read my own handwriting. The needle minder is a recent Jingle Ball exclusive from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, Karma and the Cardinal. Next, we have Snowy Snuggles Scrapbook. This was a collaboration between Lindy Stitches and The Blue Flower. I started this in December of 2023, sorry for the crinkles. This is stitched on 16 count Silver Fox, Aida by Fiber on a Whim. The needle minder is a pin that I turned into a needle minder. I have stitched 212 stitches out of 19,076, putting me at 1.1% complete. Riveting stuff. Next, we have an older chart. This is Warm Hearts by Something in Common. I started this in December of 2023. That's what I have. This is stitched on 32 count Azure Blue Lugana by Zweigart. I have 317 stitches out of 9,302, putting me at 3.4% complete. Needle minder is a Disney pin. Next is Winter Wonderland by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Started this in December of 2023. This is stitched on 28 count Coastal Lugana by Picture This Plus. I have 130 stitches out of 2,108, putting me at 6.2% complete. The needle minder is a custom. Next is Bigfoot Big Stocking by Lola Crow. This is part of the Cryptid Christmas set. I started this in December of 2023. This is stitched on 32 count Black Lugana by Zweigart. I have 143 stitches out of 1,233, putting me at 11.6% complete. You can tell kind of that there are two shades of brown there. The start of the Bigfoot. Next is number 54, Luna Love by Sprouting Lupine. I started this in February of 2024, so we're finally on to 2024 WIPs. This is stitched on 18 count Da Vinci Aida by Picture This Plus. I have stitched 1,484 stitches out of 7,499, putting me at 19.84% complete. The needle minder is a chocobo. It's a pin. I turned into a needle minder. Not sure where I got the pin. Next is Year of the Dragon by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I started this in February of 2024. Let me move my needle minder. So, I got. This is stitched on 32 count, lightly salted, not roasted, linen by BeStitchMe. I have stitched 1,628 stitches out of 2,341, putting me at 69.5% complete. The needle minder is from the Year of the Rat. This one will be done soon, because I want to start the Year of the Snake for 2025. Next is Haunted Hearts Mailbox by Haunted Frames Stitchery. I started this in March of 2024, which is why I didn't get too much done because Valentine's season was over. This is stitched on 32 count Abyss linen by Fabrics by Stephanie. I have stitched 351 stitches out of 1,360, putting me at 25.8% complete. It is a small pattern. Next is the Addams Family Stitch Along by Just Stitch Designs. Or Design, Just Stitch Design, I think. I started this in March of 2024. This is stitched on 28 count fall linen by BeStitchMe. I have stitched 785 stitches out of 50,972, putting me at 1.5% complete. And that is upside down. There we go. So I've just started outlining. The Thing needle minder is, it's either Wild Rainbow Co. or Wild Violet Cross Stitch. I don't remember. Number 58 is My Mushy Valentine by Sprouting Lupine. I started this in March of 2024. It is stitched on a 32 count Luna Moth linen by BeStitchMe. I have stitched 619 stitches out of 6,548, putting me at 9.5% complete. This needle minder is from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. Next is The Deadly Aquarium by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. I started this as the stitch along in April of 2024, as soon as the frame was released. So I learned my lesson from the failed Greenhouse of Oddities that you got to get your button gear and get that frame done before the first part comes out. So I did do that. but I still fell behind in the weekly releases. But at least with the frame done, I'm in a much better spot to pick that up and keep going with the releases. So this is stitched on 36 count Lagoon by Fiber on a Whim. I have stitched 9,692 stitches out of 18,622, putting me at 52% complete. That needle minder is a vintage Disney pin. And by vintage, from when I was a child, which is vintage now. I'm just waiting for that pile to fall over. Next is Light by Barbara Anna Designs. This is actually a freebie. I think you can still get it. When I got mine, I got it through the link in her Instagram bio. She also has another one. So check that out. I started this in May of 2024. This is stitched on a 32 count Succulent Lugana by Color and Cotton. The needle minder is from the Villains box from Black Needle Society. I have stitched 614 stitches out of 5,501, putting me at 11.2% complete. Next, this one's embarrassing. The Nostalgic Tarot by The Witchy Stitcher. This is a stitch along, not stitch along, that The Witchy Stitcher has put out on her Patreon. Every other month, I believe she comes out with 2 cards, and she came out with a free frame to put them all together as requested by folks. I think the frame is free, but if you're not part of the Patreon, you have to buy the cards that go inside it. The tarot cards. So, my numbers are only for the frame. I started this in June 2024. It's on 20 count Black Aida by Zweigart. It's still huge. So for the frame alone and not including any of the cards, I have stitched 214 stitches out of 14,685, putting me at 1.5%. The needle minder is Mothman from Rebel Stitcher Designs. And yeah, a lot to go on this one. The colors are so bright and fun though. I am making a change to use Bradley's Balloons by Threadworks instead of doing the every 5 stitches switch colors all along the border. But we are a while from that. Oh, there it is. Sliding. Okay. Next is Beach Rat by the Artsy Housewife. This is a SAL that I am co-hosting, which is sad when you see what I've got done on it. The SAL for this is Beach Rat SAL. I started this with Hillary of Subpar Stitches and Tara of Wild Woman Crafts at StitchCon. So started in June 2024. I am stitching mine on 32 count April Showers by BeStitchMe. I have 555 stitches out of 7,168. I am doing the words, obviously, because there is a version without the words, just the seagull. The needle minder is from the MN Stitcher. I also got that at StitchCon. And I do love that. I just haven't picked it back up because once the summery season was over, I didn't want to stitch on it anymore. I wanted to stitch on the seasonal things. But The goal is to have that done, or just about done, before we go back to StitchCon, weekend A, and finish them all together. Or at least show them to each other if we're not all done. We'll see. But that's the plan, is to have that done. Next, number 63, is Frogwarts Year 5 by the Black Needle Society. I started this in July of 2024. Is that right side up? No. Here we go. So this is stitched on 32 count Dirty Piggy linen by BeStitchMe. I have done 2,342 stitches out of 11,926, putting me at 19.6% complete. I love this linen. It's just so fun. Next is Niffler by Lunar Fox Stitch. This is on, I think, an 18 count white Aida. I started this in July of 2024. I needed a quick project for a stitching challenge in the Frogwarts retreat. Just holding the needle there. I have done 159 stitches out of 1,393, putting me at 11.4% complete. Just a tiny little guy. Next is Pray For Me, I'm Bitter by Lucy Beam Love and Stitches. I started this in July of 2024. The SAL started in June at StitchCon, but I didn't start mine until July. This is stitched on 32 count April Showers again by BeStitchMe linen. I have done a measly 53 stitches out of 1,835, so it's not a huge chart, putting me at 2.9%. This is a WIP Go needle minder from Jessie Marie of Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And I'm doing a custom color conversion with Forbidden Fiber Co flosses. I'm on the last page of notes. We're almost there. So number 66 is Twisted Band Sampler by Northern Expressions Needlework. I started this in September of 2024. It is on 32 count black linen by Zweigart, and I will get you in close so you can see the specialty stitches. I don't have stats on this one because I'm doing it from the paper chart, just because this is not, I am doing the specialty stitch version. There is a cross stitch only version, but because I'm doing the specialty stitch version, it doesn't easily go into Pattern Keeper or anything, so paper pattern it is. I am doing that in a, and I'll show you just because they're so beautiful, a custom BeStitchMe silk conversion instead of the rainbow. Just because I don't really care for yellows and oranges, so I wanted something that was more the colors that I liked. Next is We Still Go On by D's 20 Stitches and Uncanny Kari. I started this in October 2024 at Stitch North. And I am using a like a very highly variegated Forbidden Fiber Co floss. This is stitched on 32 count Boneyard linen, just a scrap, by BeStitchMe. The needle minder is from Marie Minder. Look at that crow. And I have done 441 stitches out of 1,462, putting me at 30.2% complete. However, I did find a mistake while I was there at Stitch North, and I'm gonna fudge it. I'm not going to pick it out, but that's why I haven't finished it, because I need to figure out my fudging and do so. Next, we have Cat the Anglerfish by Emily Peacock. This I got for Christmas as a kit, and it is stitched on this like 9 count canvas. It's like really thick, stiff. You can it doesn't really roll well, so we are going really high tech here, but I just really wanted to try to be able to stitch two-handed to get this done quicker. It's done with like anchor tapestry wool. I have stitched 498 stitches out of 12,040, putting me at 4.1% complete. Next, we have what I'm calling Hoagie, which I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. It is a custom chart for a coworker where I just took a like pixel art version of the design from this children's TV show into a pattern generator, cleaned it up to make it more like just reduce the amount of colors and make it a halfway reasonable size. Still pretty big. So this is totally for personal use. You're not getting, I'm not gonna share this or anything, but here's where I'm at. I have stitched 143 stitches out of 2,953. This is stitched on 18 count easy count. The needle minder is from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This one has a name. It's Oh Ginger Snap because it's a gingerbread man with a bite taken out of him. So yeah, this is just a gift, and it's for a coworker's niece. Hopefully I can get that done kind of soon, just so they can give it to him before the kid grows out of it. And then lastly, we have Penguin Snowflake by Daily Magic Stitch. This is a free stitch along. If you are interested in joining, you still can, I believe, through January 15th. Check out the details on their Instagram page. So I started this in December of 2024. It is stitched on 18 count Memories in the Rain, Aida by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. The needle minder is from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's called Adele the Penguin. I have stitched 1,651 stitches out of 1,940 stitches, putting me at 85.1% complete. I'm almost done. I was kind of upset that this is in my WIP parade and I didn't have it done before I did this, but it is what it is. If you're wondering why my margins are weird, because it was a free stitch along, you got the first part for first, and then you had to show that you completed that before you got the next part. So I cut my fabric based on the actual center measurements, but then when I got the first half of the chart and put it in Pattern Keeper, the Pattern Keeper center was not the full center of the chart, so I started it. I should still be fine on margins, but that's why it looks weird. And yeah, that is it. All 70 WIPs, 71 after I restart one that I need to do that on. I started in the wrong orientation. That's like the third one I've done this on, and it's very, I need to get better about checking that, but still, that is it. that's all I've got. I really hope that if you like what you saw and saw like the projects that I'm working on and want to see future updates, that you go ahead and subscribe and come back. So I hope to see you next time. Bye!